apologize for not having thought of it myself. I'd like for everyone to join with us in a moment of silence. We had Brittany Sowers, one of our students that passed away, or was killed last week, unfortunately. And if everybody would join in a moment of silence for one of our students, we appreciate it. Thanks. Mr. McAllister's asked me to stand. We'll do that. Brittany Sowers. Thank you very much. Sometimes things that we get involved with, we forget what it's all about. It's about our students. Think about how fortunate we all are. But we our condolences go out to her family and all of her friends and everybody in high school. Okay, we're now at the point of we're going to have our public comments. Once again, you know, this is a little bit different. Debbie Dingus is signing in first. Debbie's going to go, but you know, we can't really get active because you're not on the agenda. Because there's always potential that whatever your position is, or somebody out there has a different one, they don't get the opportunity. But please keep in mind and understand that we are going to listen to everything you say. We're going to make note of everything you say, and we're going to consider whatever it is that you may want. You know, that's what we're here for. But we just have to do it in a certain way. Now, at the end of our agenda, we'll have a segment where board members and the superintendent have a little, you know, there's a topic there, and you know, we can discuss things, and sometimes those things are open. Since it's in an area of property, part of it could be private, because if we're dealing with real estate prices and all, the law, you know, provides for us to do that in executive session. But there's a possibility that we may address some of the things that you say in that section later on. I'm just trying to think how we can maybe address your needs and comply with the law at the same time. But okay, we have Debbie Dingus, and she wants to speak to us about Harts High School. Ms. Dingus.
Thank you. Good evening. We have a group of concerned citizens in the Harts area who are very much concerned about the sale, the auction of the Harts High School building. And we just wanted to make sure that the board was aware of all the things that that entails. When you sell that building, you are taking away the only indoor practice facility that our student athletes have, because they currently use the old gym to practice softball and baseball during inclement weather, which is quite frequently in the spring. We have our batting cages in there, and our new gym is not equipped to put a batting cage up. We didn't realize this at the time they were building the building, and I don't think any of you realized that they were shrinking our building as they built it. The SBA would tell ZMM that we had too much square footage and that they needed to shrink some of that. And in the course of that, our gym was shrunk to the point where our sidelines are so small that the referees during basketball games threaten to call technical fouls on our cheerleaders because they don't have room to stand really on the sidelines. And people cannot walk from one side of the gym to the other during a basketball game without actually walking on the gym floor while the game is being played. We use that gym daily for 460 students to have PE. We have to have 2 classes at a time in the gym. And there is no place for a batting cage. There's no place for indoor practice facility at the new school. So we've come up with a proposal that we would like for the board to consider. We went to the county commission last Thursday. We asked the county commission if they were interested in taking over the building, because we have heard since before the schools actually consolidated that the county commission was interested in closing Farrellsburg as a community center and taking over the Harts High School building and using that as a community center. Nothing, we didn't hear anything basically after we consolidated about it, other than the fact that when the board met at Harts PK8 for the LSIC, you all asked Mrs. Lucas to talk to the county commission, and I believe that she did that. According to the commission, they would love to take over the Harts High School building. They would like to turn it into a community center, and they would give the Harts PK8 student athletes priority on using the gym, the field, and all of those facilities. Now, they would like for the board to enter into an agreement with them about sort of leasing the facilities the way that the board does for the Lions Club field. But there's several positives in all of this. And one of the big things that we think is that if the board got Farrellsburg back, we think that Farrellsburg is actually a more viable piece of real estate than just the Harts High School building, because all you are auctioning off is the building itself and the property it sits on, basically, with the sidewalks included. You're not auctioning off the fields nor the parking. So I don't know who would be interested actually in buying that for just that building when they wouldn't have anything else. But Farrellsburg has quite a bit of property to go with it. And if you could work like maybe a trade out to where you regain Farrellsburg, and I don't know how it was drawn up at the time that Farrellsburg closed, but Farrellsburg is also closer to Chapmanville, which means the property values there are higher. So if it's money that you are looking for, as far as that goes, you would receive more money by selling Farrellsburg than selling a building with no property. So taking all that into consideration, we feel that we would like to ask you all to consider pulling Harts High School off of the auction until the board has a chance to sit down and meet with the county commission and maybe come up with an alternative that would benefit our students and our community way more than what it's going to benefit them when you sell this. Because when you sell Harts High School, you also take away our locker rooms and our dressing rooms. There's no place to build anything else there on that property. So we would have to have teams coming to play us that they didn't have any place to dress. And they don't, all we've got is one restroom for the women and one for the men with just one commode. That would not adequately meet the needs of our athletes that are coming in to visit. You know, we are the only school in the county that has to have a field that is shared by football, baseball, and softball. The only school. All the other middle schools have their own separate fields for each of those sports. And we've worked very hard for this. And we hate to see us go down as far as the facilities that we're offering to our visiting teams and everything, and I hate to say it, but sometimes it can be an embarrassment when they come in there. I can remember years ago when I coached softball, Danny Daly did not want to come up there and play a tournament game because we didn't have a proper softball field. Now, I argued with him and insisted that they come, and told him that any disadvantage that his team had, my team had the same disadvantage. And he did come, and unfortunately we couldn't find where second base was supposed to go because you have to dig up those bases all the time. And he got out there with a rule and a measurement and tried to find where it was. We had to dig another hole, and he still wasn't pleased. But that's just for instance, you know, when you have a softball field and a separate baseball field, you don't have to worry about things like that. You don't have to worry about where they're going to use the restroom, and you don't worry about a locker room for them. So we're just asking that you really consider looking at what happens when you sell this building to maybe a private individual, where we lose access to everything there. It's just, it's sad, and I think that we can work something out with the county commission. From what our committee has been told, there's also money that they're just waiting to see if the commission can take the control of the building to put a new roof on the gym. So the legislature is looking at giving the commission money to make improvements and stuff in the building, and we think that we can definitely make a great community center and use that building for the betterment of our community. More so than Farrellsburg, because it offers different things for us. So we would just like to see if there's a possibility that you could postpone that auction, or whatever it would take for you to do before you, and meet with the county commission. Because they told us last week in a public meeting that they definitely want the building. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Appreciate it. Next, we have Dwayne Williams.
I appreciate the time to speak, and I'm basically going to second a lot of the topics that Debbie already touched on. My point of view is going to be from, most importantly, a father of 3 small kids, with the oldest being 6. I've also been blessed enough to coach the middle school football team along with Coach Atkins last year. So I can definitely attest to some of the situations that Debbie spoke about, some sort of embarrassing situations with certain things that you come up with. You know, where we do have to share the fields, we do get complaints a lot from the other coaches, even the officials. But luckily, due to the hard work of Coach Atkins and myself and a lot of people in this community that were speaking up who's concerned about this, a lot of these same people have stepped up to help us, you know, in their limited time. So it's very important for us not to lose anything else. I can speak of for myself as a fairly recent graduate of Hearts. I graduated in 1997, and the thought of losing the school in a way all over again, this would basically essentially losing this school for the second time. Because as we all know, especially in a small community, in a rural town, you know, your high school is the bloodline. It's the force of your community. And I know we took a big hit losing our high school. And being from that high school, and I didn't have the opportunity to play football. We didn't have football offered to us. And now I'm excited to be a part of at least the middle school we can offer to our kids. And if something would come up where it would be any detrimental to our kids, our softball players, baseball and football, it would just crush their motivation. And I know everybody in this room is all for giving kids opportunities, because we know what idle hands can do with kids. You know, providing a better community center with more programs, and if it leads to grant money, to give these kids something to do, it would be a major plus. Because just like the gentleman before us spoke about, other opportunities for the kids in the county. And I can speak of growing up in Hearts. I recently just moved back a couple years ago, and I will be honest with you, I was hesitant about moving back for one reason: opportunities for my kids. That was one, I'll be honest with you, that was one thing that kept me from moving back for 12 years. I'm glad I did, because I want to be a part of the community. I want to help out, not only for my kids, but for all the other kids, especially the less fortunate kids that don't have the opportunities that I had growing up, that my parents could take me to Huntington to do things, or after-school programs when we didn't have them here. But the fact of using the Old Hearts High School as a community center, if the commission can get control of that, or however it's worked out, would be a major plus for our community. Because not every kid wants to do the same thing. Just like we're talking about high school students, not every kid follows that college path. They need other opportunities of skill. So our kids need more in this end of the county. They really do. And if we would lose both community centers, if that would work out that way, that would be such a detriment to our kids. And speaking from the athletic side of it, like Debbie touched on, our locker room facilities, especially with football, you have larger teams that, that involves a lot of equipment. And we had people, even the way it's set last year, it wasn't the best situation, but thanks to a lot of hard work from a lot of the people up there, we may do. And if we get something else taken from us, if that gets changed to another opportunity, and if a decision's made to change that setup, we're looking at another fight. Because I can tell you from having some, local meetings, we've gotten together and talked about what we can do to help. There's plenty of people that want to help. There's plenty of people that will step up to help, and we know it's going to take work on our part. And that's why the main portion of, the main point of everybody stepping up is just to hold off on the decision for the sale of Hearts High, the building itself. Because it might not be considered a high school, but it's still Hearts High School to that community. And it's almost like a landmark to everybody there. And I think, and Debbie's right, that piece of property at Farrellsburg is a more valuable piece of property when you look at real estate terms. It's all right on Route 10, it's closer to Chapmanville. But the amount of people that would work for Hearts High School as a community center, we have the full-size gym there for our baseball and softball, for the batting cages. And even on the football side of things, when we have dangerous weather and lightning or just torrential downpours during practices, we can also use that gym to line up our plays, to line up the walkthroughs and things like that. Without that, we have nowhere to go. If we're in the middle of practice and lightning starts, we have nowhere to go. We have to cancel practice and everybody home. And I know that's a chance that a lot of people take, but when we have that right there for the community, it would be beneficial. I know there's a list of numerous things we could do with a community center that size, and we're aware that it takes a lot of work, and if there is money to use, that's well above my pay grade. I don't know those answers or those decisions. But to somehow take the facility, when I'm talking about the facility, the gym, the dressing rooms, away from the school and to a private buyer, that would be such a blow to our kids. I know, just from speaking personally, I can't speak for the baseball and softball coaches, but we have a lot of kids on the football team. They don't have any interest in anything else. Football's their thing. They like it. Then maybe they don't have the attributes to play anything else. And maybe that's their ticket for motivation, to motivate them in schoolwork. And if we have to make other changes, and well, we can't do this and can't do that, and make it even harder on them, it's not going to give them any motivation to continue to work hard. So that's our basically our request today. Like Debbie said, we met with the county commission, and they gave the public, they said it, to the public that they were willing to take that over and was looking forward to it and very interested in it. And just for the benefit of our community, speaking as someone who recently graduated from Hearts, and it's a sad feeling not to move your family back to your hometown because you worry about opportunities for your kids. I can say that personally. And being involved with the team last year, and my wife's been a school teacher in Lincoln County, and we really care about the kids and care about the community. And I'd hate to see anything else negative affect our kids. Not many of my time's come and gone in high school. And I have, like I said, 3 young kids going to be in Hearts for a long time. So I plan on being here and being part of the solution. So I guess that's my 2 cents, and I do appreciate the time, but just we all can agree that all these decisions are for the kids. And when you're out and you move other places and you see other opportunities kids have, it really makes you yearn for opportunities that you might have had when you was young or your kids coming up. And not every parent can afford to take a kid out of town somewhere, to see a computer lab, to go to a library, to have a program, something as simple as martial arts, something like that can build confidence. So that's our main concerns, our community and our kids. And I wholeheartedly believe if we take care of that, everything else will take care of itself. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Williams.